I have a theory about emotions, about Enneagram, and I think it's fascinating. I think it's new information. I really do. So here's what I've come across. This year, kind of as a joke, I made this New Year's resolution to become, quote, more vulnerable and in touch with my emotions. And I had to study emotions to even understand, like, what are the emotions? Because I know that I'm angry, and I know that I'm filled with joy also, and I know that I'm a passionate and creative person. Like, okay, all of those emotions, that's enough for me. That takes care of everything for me, and I'm good. But the thing is, and especially for me being Enneagram 8, social subtype, there's this blind spot to my own needs for love and affection. And so I think in there somewhere is the fact that there's other emotions that exist. Sadness, disgust, and fear, they exist. But for me as Enneagram 8 specifically, I would imagine most Enneagram 8s, but I refuse to identify with those emotions. I don't want anyone to think that I'm sad, like that I'm like depressed, like I'm being overwhelmed by these negative emotions that make me feel lonely. I don't want anyone to think that I'm afraid, or that I'm anxious. No, I don't want anybody to think that I'm, disgusted or embarrassed or surprised. Like, no. Like, the more I disassociate from those emotions, then the more in control I am, which is what Enneagram 8s are all about. And not necessarily controlling other people, but I need to at least be in control of myself. How can I do that if I've got these other emotions distracting me from doing that and making me look weak and tearing down this concept of me being someone who is mentally strong? Because that's, 8s are known for focusing on strength. And yes, okay, I regularly go to the gym and I exercise and I eat right and all that stuff. And that's important. But just as important, I need to be mentally strong. I need to be capable in those ways because I've got other people to look out for and to take care of. So I can't get caught up in emotions. I can't have a bad day where I'm sad or lonely. I can't have that day. I don't deserve that. Like, that could never be a thing that I would even should be warranted. So as I look at my notes here, I just like to remind myself the exact phrasing: the absence of emotion predicts Enneagram growth. So as I looked at those emotions, I thought, how do I grow? Because I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be fearful. I don't want to be disgusted. I don't want to be surprised. I don't want to be any of those things. But I've learned that for me, I'm already doing those things. And instinctively, and I mentioned in another video, but like, okay, the way that I volunteer my time to help other people, which I don't want to go through again on this video because I don't want to seem like I'm patting myself on the back, but I realize there's a lot of things I do as I volunteer my time. I do help other people and I do empower other people and I mentor people. Those are things that I'm drawn to do. And I actually always have been. I just didn't recognize it because it wasn't in a political sense. And when I heard about a social aid, I thought, oh, that means like Martin Luther King and like, you got to be really involved in politics. I'm not involved in politics at all, but I'm still empowering other people. And I'm not so much focused on people who are treated unjustly, but basically the people who are unseen and no one's taking care of them. I want to do what I can to take care of them, but not people who need pity. If you want pity, I will not touch you. I will not get anywhere near you. But if you can actually, if I can actually help you, I'm going to help you. And I'm very passionate about that. So, okay, Enneagram growth for an 8 is to be more like a 2. So I think like, well, even if I am not lonely, and even if I'm not going to grow by feeling lonely or sad, well, I can help people who are feeling sad. Okay, so fine. One of the things I do is I visit people who have a relative who passed away, and I go to the visitation of funeral homes. And so I'm there for the person who's going through that loss and that grief. And so I'm not feeling sad, I'm not feeling grief, but they are, and I just want to be there for them. So that's one of the things I do. So I'm finding myself connected to people who are lost or grieving, or anxious or whatever it is. And I'm being there for them, even though I'm not feeling those ways. But ultimately what's happening is I'm growing. I'm being more like a 2, which is a healthy 8. And so I'll give you another example. This is interesting. If you're an Enneagram 1, what is your growth? You need to have more fun. You need to have more joy in your life. Well, this would be my prediction. If you're an Enneagram 1 and you were to look at through what emotions you don't really seem to have on a daily basis or weekly basis, there's a good chance joy is not going to show up on that register. Well, that's the whole thing. You need to find things that make you happy. And so for guys, a lot of the times, what's something that they choose to do that makes them happy? To watch sports or to play sports, and that gives them joy. It doesn't give me joy personally, but it gives most men joy, I guess. So, okay, if you're an Enneagram 1 male, please watch more sports, play more sports, if that's the thing that gives you more joy, and then you're going to be more like a 7. So as I talked with other people in the future that I'm a mentor people, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking through the emotion wheel and asking them, hey, which of these emotions do you feel on a daily basis or at least weekly basis? In which do you basically not really experience on a daily or weekly basis? And the ones they say, here's the ones I don't identify with, well, that's their growth, to find access to either feel those ways or to connect with people who do have those things. Find some way to be connected to those emotions, even if you don't even feel the emotions. And there's a good chance that will predict your Enneagram growth, and I'm sure we can go through all 9 really ultimately, that we could go in there. I mean, I don't know, I'm just off the top of my head, like you could be an Enneagram 9 wing 1, and I know that the growth for a 9 is to actually speak your mind and be more assertive in saying what you actually think and feel. It could be that 9 wing 1s don't really have a lot of anger that they're dealing with on a daily basis, but maybe they need a little bit of anger in order to give them also that courage and bravery to actually speak their mind and contribute, because that's how they grow and become more like a 3. So I think we could go through all of those and ultimately find what are the missing emotions, what can you do that you enjoy that will get you connected to that. Like for me, for example, I don't care at all about sports. They don't bring me joy. They don't make me feel anything. I'm completely apathetic, just like I feel about politics. But I write songs, and I write them regularly on this channel. And I've learned that's what gives me also connection with those emotions that I don't feel. I mean, I'm numb when it comes to sadness and fear and disgust. But what's funny is when I write a song, the emotion comes out. Maybe I don't feel it, but I write it and I express it, and it's my version of getting connected with that emotion. The most recent song that I wrote and put on this channel is called The Mandela Effect. And in the very opening line, it says, feels like. That's the first phrase I use, is feels like. And I'm talking about emotions, and ultimately it's this concept of feeling left behind and lost. Well, I didn't know I felt that way, but apparently last year when I moved to a new town and I was kind of starting over, I was feeling kind of lost and isolated and sad, but I didn't know it. It was very subconscious. But it connected me to that emotion, and so many of my songs do that, and that's part of the drive why I think I need to create music, because it brings the emotion out of me that I need that for growth. So that's my theory. Whatever emotions you feel disconnected from, probably find a way to do something you enjoy that connects you to those emotions or people who do experience or display those emotions, and there's a good chance that's your Enneagram growth. I would love to hear from you. Your comments belong right here.